Morning, YouTubers. Afternoon, I guess. Um, I'm on the week of doubling up for God, so I'm doubling up on the videos I shoot, trying to think more. Um, Testimony is kind of what I'm inspired by right now. I was raised in a very atheistic family, mostly. We call themselves spiritual, but of course believed science over most things, like over the Bible, obviously. Um, Stayed that way, was raised that way right through high school and into I was 27 when when God found me at college in MBCC, and opened my eyes to the truth. I had to change everything about how I think, really. Like, everything. Um, going from thinking that the world's billions of years old, guaranteed that it is. Like, we already knew that, right? To thinking that to knowing that it's around 7,000 years old. A little under. Seven's God's number. 7 and 13. That's why 13, that's why they're scared of it. Blanket the 13th floors and all that kind of stuff. But there's also great power in it. That's why witches and things try to utilize it as well. Because that power and knowledge is God knowledge. It's from God. That they're able to do what it is that they're able to do. And there is a power there. But if you're in Christ, no weapon formed against you, including knowledge of certain spells or whatever. So, anyway, graduated college and came back home, and I don't know what. Just a rough transitioning period, for sure. Ended up getting my fiance at the time pregnant. Total blessing. My son's a blessing. Wasn't a blessing at the time. Her and I did not. She changed on a dime, and I couldn't do that. I couldn't change that much that quick, and we struggled for 2 years or something after he was born, but it just couldn't work. Should have moved, probably. Anyway, coulda, woulda, shoulda. Didn't, because God had more training for me. Obviously, I had to learn things the hard way. I'm sure there was an easier way for me to have gotten to where I am. And my heart broke a lot. Big time. Things I didn't think I could heal from. Losing my son and my daughter in the same month was crazy. some of the things I found out about praying for knowledge and wisdom and discernment and understanding every day. I prayed for that every day for months. A lot of it was great, like wonderful. But some of the things that I learned, some of the knowledge that I got, happy that I know it, because by me taking that burden, it made it easier on somebody else. But that was a big burden to take a couple of times. Anyway, because of God, I was able to get through all of it. And actually, by that time, my relationship with God was really strong, or was gaining strength at the time. That was like that wisdom and discernment time. That was a couple of years after I was baptized. Well, no, it was really from the time I was baptized. It just bang, I went hard. And even before I was baptized. See, I don't even know. I keep going hard, I guess, with the learning shit. But at that time, I was learning things. I was also praying for a more personal relationship with God, so that I could, I wanted to understand Him like a friend. I wanted as much knowledge about Him as I could possibly have. So, like, I could know how He would feel, or try to have a really good understanding of how He would feel about certain subjects and why, and just understand Him like you would understand your spouse. You know, I got a meme that says, may you find somebody who understands your soul's language, so that you don't have to spend a lifetime trying to explain yourself. I don't mind explaining myself, but it's so wonderful when you find somebody that can understand, even when it comes out crazy or whatever. If it comes out improperly or whatever, at first, they just get it right away. Anyway, it's rare. And I hope that for each and every person watching this video, and around the world, really, pray that onto every single soul on earth. Even if you're not saved or whatever, to have that connection here. Now, if that connection goes even further, and you find somebody who has that much connection and love for you and with you, but you both put yourselves and each other second to God, and you push with all your might together for Him, well, I don't even know. Well, you'd have a mega church or something, right? That's the kind of things that happen to people like that, or whatever their goal is. You're unstoppable. There's the word. Anyway, when I lost my kids, I was on a kick just before that where I was sleeping around a lot. And this was before I was baptized. But it was after I knew Christ, right? I was still a mess. And I was just trying to understand everything at that time still. I was new. And anyway, got way off lost. Was still pushing to God, but I was doing this thing to try to kill a part of my soul so that I wouldn't fall in love, so I couldn't be hurt or whatever. And the advice I was getting was to, the advice I was taking, I guess, was to, if you, um, if you sleep with enough girls, eventually you just become hard or whatever. You just lose that loveness. You won't fall in love with every girl you sleep with. That was the big thing. You fall in love, you fall in love with every girl you sleep with. You got to do this. So I said, all right, finally, I'll try it. Because I've been getting that same speech since I was a kid. And so I said, yeah, fuck it, I'm going to do it. I'll break that stupid thing to do. Try to break a piece of your soul. Like, an important piece of your soul. No, the thing to do is to be more discerning and don't be stupid about who you sleep with and who you open your heart up to and who you go into a relationship with, and don't rush. Anyway, so then I lost the kids. My daughters, I don't tell anybody this, but I'm going to tell everybody this now, because I didn't like saying this because it was horrible. It's hard, man. It was the hardest thing I ever did. It was heart-wrenching. But she's adopted. I get to pick the parents and stuff. I tried to be the parent, but I knew I couldn't. That wouldn't have been the best choice for her. It would have been a bad choice for her. My family tried to adopt her a little, but again, that would have been a bad choice for her. That would have been selfish for me, but also wouldn't have worked for me either, because I would have had to watch and not be a part, basically, and I didn't agree with the way they parent entirely. So I hope that it was the right decision. These people were waiting 8 years, I think they said, and they were expecting like a crack baby, and they got this healthy, beautiful girl. And anyway, and then when my ex found out about it, we were going through courts and we could sign the papers and everything, but we had made an arrangement that she was going to wait until after Christmas to move, and she found out about it. She moved that month, and so it was within 2 weeks of each other, I think, or a week and a half of each other. Anyway, it destroyed me, and I did get past it. I don't really even know how. I'm trying to remember, and I drank a lot, but I also pushed into God about a lot more, and quit drinking, quit having sex at all with anybody. I went almost 7 years. I did. Okay, there you go. I went 8 years. I dated one girl, and we had sex. We were together, dated for a long time, broke up a year later, had sex one time, and then that was it. And then I did the 6 years to now. I just tell myself that I'm waiting. Well, I'm on the dating sites and I've dated a lot of people and stuff like that, but I'm looking for that real soul, that real connection, and somebody who loves God. And it's very hard to find, and especially because I put so much of my time into God. I don't have, well, I do have time, but I don't want to just blabber on about stuff. I'm not doing the videos and I'm not working. A lot of times I want to, I gotta watch and listen to books, read books, study, watch other people's sermons, watch go to church, all these things, right? It's all focused, right? I'm not saying that I'm perfect, and I'm far from perfect. I'm actually so far from perfect that I need that much God. Right? I go to church twice on Sundays because, well, 3 times because different churches, because I need it. Like, I went 27 years without ever going to a church. I went into one church, and it was a Catholic church, and I was high on acid. And the girlfriend's mom and dad picked us up in the morning, and we'd just taken acid. And they forced us to go to church that morning. It was freaky. I was like 14, I think, right around there. No, I would have been a little older than that, because it was my second girlfriend. So I would have been 16, maybe, whatever. That was my first and last church service up until more recently. So I have a big gap in that knowledge that needs filling. So as much Bible as I can put in, like when I look at Abraham's life or Jacob's life, and even one of Esau's kids, and Shem, they built a church, monastery, and just studied the Torah. You know, I'm sure they grew their vegetables, but like 60 years. There's that much to learn. You could study that book for 120 years and just still have more to learn. Still have more messaging in there. Still not figure it all out. Still see something else. Oh my God, there's something else. The things that people have found in that book when it's the actual Torah, and the numbering in the words, and the spaces between the words, and just everything has some meaning, and if you apply math to it and stuff, and it's in the Hebrew and the original, way over my head, obviously, and I don't even care to learn that much. You know, I think it's interesting. I think it's fascinating, but I mean, I'm not going to set out to learning all the mathematical breakdown of the words that spell things like Jesus. Frontwards and backwards, and then the book in between spells Torah. So Jesus leads to the Torah or whatever. It's Yeshua. So anyway, so then I moved on to quitting things. I didn't move on to quitting things. God moved on to removing things from my life. That first lesson, or that sex lesson, I needed a hard lesson there. And porn, I needed a hard lesson there too. Just had to get rid of it out of my life. And weed's gonna be a bad one. And you guys see me smoking pot all the time. That's gonna be one. That's my last sin that I still indulge in regularly or whatever. And then what else? I don't eat pork. I don't eat shellfish. I don't eat all that stuff. I again, it wasn't like I didn't choose this. It just dropped out of my life. Things just changed. Quitting smoking. They just dropped out of my life. People talk about how hard it is. Oh, it's so hard, blah, 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 quit smoking. No. The hardest part was getting rid of that lie about how hard it is to quit smoking. Now, if pot's the same, I'm going to be amazed. But I won't be amazed at the same time because it's God. He's just... He just does things. And you don't even know it. I'm in a different fucking city. Who'd have thought I'd ever do that? At 42 years old. Starting over like a fucking kid. Fucking no. It's swearing. That's another one. I've been really trying with the swearing. I'll tell you, it's dramatic how little I swear now compared to what I used to. Dramatic change. Huge, huge, huge change. The amount of words that I've added to my vocabulary to replace curse words. And we all thought, oh, that F word, it adds bang to everything. You can shove it in anywhere and it can do all these things, blah, blah, blah. That's why it's a bad word. Because it's so... It makes it easy, makes things too easy. So you become less... You less stride for intelligence and vocabulary, learning things, knowledge, all of it. Little things like just learning words and their actual meanings and stuff like that can compass into your body of knowledge and give you revelations that are nothing about that word. But it's just when all the knowledge is put together, all of a sudden you say, oh shoot, look at that. You know what I mean? Because it's so you keep throwing more pieces in and it fills in more of the picture. Like putting together a puzzle, right? So every time you get a little bit more in, each piece just seems arbitrary. But when they're together, they make this beautiful puzzle, right? So knowledge works the same way. And so just adding a little bit to your vocabulary can add tons to your knowledge base. And especially adding to your vocabulary, because then you start to realize how important words are and how direct and how the energy of it and how it affects your brain, your body, your mind, your surroundings, just everything you listen to, everything that you put in, everything that is said. It's so meaningful. And you won't understand how meaningful until you actually understand the meanings of all those words and things too, right? So everything that you can add in is so important. And just so saying the F word over and over and over and over again, rather than picking a variety of all these beautiful words that you never would have thought to say, you know what I mean? It exercises your brain. If you're just saying the same generic word every time, then there's no exercise there. There's no work that needs to go on because that word can just kind of fit anywhere. So it's just lazy. And then your brain gets lazy and it gets weak. And it's just like every other muscle in your body, right? You got to work it out. And the more you work out your brain, the less chance you have of getting things like Alzheimer's and stuff like that, right? Because it's a exercised muscle. You're using it. You're using all of it, and you're exercising it, right? So then, even if you're damaging it by smoking pot, you're still exercising it when you're learning, when you're adding, when you're doing anything, puzzles. I like playing Risk on my tablet, and yeah, I can't remember the other game. But they're just stupid little strategy games that are fun on the Antiyoi. Antiyoi. Stupid little fun game. That one's really simple. Like, so's Risk, I guess. And it's really similar, and they're both really fun anyway, I think. And they're good exercise for your brain. So, I can't believe a half hour went by. I was going to just do like a 10 minute little short. But I guess not. I had more to say. I'm going to wrap it up because it's time. But I hope that my horrible decision making process up to this point in my younger years or whatever is a good testimony to God, and I know that my future is going to be. That's another reason I'm doing everything that I'm doing. Moving, changing life, all that stuff was a call to do that, but I mean, it was through signs and a lot through, I just kept getting the same sermon from different preachers and different avenues over and over again. And it was when I was praying for direction and stuff. So I went with it. That's what faith is. So, and that's the other thing. I'm building my faith. Again, I didn't have any. Even when I found it out through science, to bring myself to knowing that the young Earth, I had to like be shown with real science. I had to show how the science is flawed, and I had to be shown all the misrepresentations. But even once I knew all that, I couldn't admit it or whatever. So it took a couple years to get my snap on, and then the flat Earth stuff. And even then, I still wasn't fully faith. And then got baptized, man. And just before I got baptized, I started really learning. And then I prayed to God, and I said, should I get baptized? What's the deal with that? Like, is that... And got a really good message about it, saying yes, and saying that it's... stepping out, and you're showing God. You're saying to God, yes, here I am. I'm going to go out of my norm. I'm going to say it in front of all these people, and I'm going to do something that's for you. It's not about the dipping in the water. That could be anything that you do. You know, you could walk over hot coals, or you could do all kinds of different acts. But it's about doing an act in front of a crowd that's for God, that you're stating, yes, Jesus died on the cross for me, saved me, and I believe. And then you dunk yourself in the water or whatever. And when you come back up, you're different. And definitely was different. Change, boom. And everything turned on twice as much. And the prayer that came out, and then the answer to it all, just everything turned on after that, big time. So totally advise getting baptized if you haven't and you're wondering about that. Anyway, 30 seconds. Have a great day, YouTubers. I hope that I planted a little seed somewheres along there. Now you know me a little better, maybe, at the very least.